Hello everyone, I'm Brior, and welcome back to Goodgame Empire. Tonight's video is not going to contain any fancy editing or multiple takes or anything like that. I'm just going to sit down and talk into the microphone while I play the game. The reason for that is I wanted to get some content out to you guys. It's been a week since I've uploaded, but in this past week I've been very busy indeed. What have I been doing? Well, I've been moving. I've been picking things up and putting things down, and I've gotten pretty good at it. But as I said, I haven't had the time to make any videos, and besides, a lot of my equipment has been put away in storage. But I think tonight we finished up the main part of moving, so I unpacked my things and was excited to make a video for you guys. So what's today's video going to be about? Well, you already know if you checked out the title, but I'd like to talk about the recent Royal Questline that was added to the game, and if you complete these quests, you will be able to collect 3 pieces of the Ivory Queen commander set, which is a very good commander set indeed. Now, I'll be honest, with the previous Royal Quests, I haven't actually completed any of them. A lot of times, some base food production build items were up for grabs, and those are great rewards, but they weren't enough to motivate me to really play hard to collect them, and some of these quests in the past have been very difficult. We'll talk about that in a moment. But this time, I think these rewards are so good that you shouldn't pass them up. There's no indication that they will ever be up for grabs again via the Royal Quest. They might be, but we don't know that. So if you can, make sure that you complete this quest series, and this time it actually looks fair. So let's go ahead and take a look at the quests. I will give you my thoughts on them, and if I have any specific tips, I will share those as well. Now, the first quest is already completed, and hopefully you got this one taken care of, but the 3 challenges were to gain 1.8 million glory, loot 7.2 million resources, and recruit around 3,000 attackers. Now, recruiting the attackers I thought was very easy. The requirement there is that you recruit attackers with a minimum of 125 attack power. As you guys might know, I normally recruit veteran heavy crossbowmen, because those are ranged troops, and I think there's a good value to them. They aren't very costly in terms of coins or indeed of time. Only 55 seconds for one at this location, compared to, let's say, a crossbowman of the Elite Guard being 1 minute 37 seconds. So, as I was saying, they're much better value. You will lose a few extra attackers when you are going after NPCs, for example, but they can be very easily replaced. However, these guys do not qualify because they only have 114 attack power, and that presents a bit of a problem. So for these past few days, I have been recruiting the veteran two-handed swordsmen, which just qualify with that 125 attack power. I know some players say never to recruit melee troops, but I use them against the foreign invaders, for example, so I don't have much problem with it. And I'm also leveling up some of my NPCs in the Outer Kingdoms, so I need some melee attackers there as well. So I got that first quest taken care of. I think the most difficult quest for most players was going to be that 1.8 million glory. We do have the German foreign invaders around, and they often give out some fairly good targets, so hopefully you got lucky and were able to take care of that requirement with just 1 or 2 hits. I did not, and I had to take care of that quest, essentially one 600-man castle at a time, but at the end of the day, I did complete it. The second quest, which is the one that I'm currently working on, as you can see, I've got about 6 hours left, so I shouldn't have any problems with this unless I get distracted with making this video or fall asleep or something, but it's to collect gallantry points by attacking watchtowers and also to heal units. And this is, I believe, the most difficult, at least for me, out of these 7 quests. The first challenge in particular is very difficult, collecting gallantry points, because I am not very good at the Battle for Barremond, which is the currently running event. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and take a peek right now. However, a very good attack setup for these targets was shared in my alliance. I might reveal it in a future video, but I think for this particular video, that might be too much of a secret to just give away for free. So just stay tuned to the channel and you might catch it in the future. Anyways, the first challenge of that quest is more challenging than the others because if you attack your watchtowers and you attack them the required number of times without using any boosters or fancy tools or without buying any bonuses, you won't collect that much gallantry. So the bottleneck there is actually the gallantry quest. Let me just go ahead and finish setting up this attack for the watchtower. And in reality, you will need to do probably an additional 50 or so attacks, and that can really add up. It's very expensive in terms of your tools, not to mention in terms of your time, especially when you are moving. That has been the main challenge for me. For a while there, I didn't even have Wi-Fi, and I thought that there was no way I would be able to complete this quest, but in the end, it worked out, which I'm very happy to say. So I'll go ahead and launch this attack. Not sure if I made any mistakes in the setup there, but I'm recording and setting up my attack at the same time, so I hope you will forgive me. So also, this challenge here, which was to heal 1,400 units, for some players was going to be very difficult. If you are healing those veteran heavy crossbowmen that I mentioned, it will take you, I think I calculated 41 hours, and this was a 48-hour quest. So essentially you will have to stock your military hospital up full-time, and if you wake up late on the morning that that quest starts, for example, that could put you out of business, and you would have to use some ruby you would have to spend some rubies to heal your troops instantly, and that's not something that many people are interested in doing. However, you can recruit some other troops that are a little bit faster to go through the military hospital. Let me show you what those are. First, you have the veteran swordsmen. These are very expensive, but can be recruited very quickly. They used to be viable actually in defense a few years ago because they are melee troops that are fairly good defenders, well, fairly mediocre defenders, but for a few years ago, again, they were pretty good. And you could put them on the wall, and it was very difficult to overcome that. But nowadays, they're mostly useless. I'm not sure why you would recruit these for any purpose other than to satisfy the healing requirement that we'll talk about in just a moment. The other troops here are archers. These are very weak. Again, no real reason to recruit these, but they are much cheaper. Now, let me go on over to the military hospital and show you what we've got going on. So obviously these scouts of the Kingsguard, great defenders, but they take over an hour to recruit, and this time will depend a little bit on, I believe, your public order. It doesn't say that anywhere, but I've checked, and these troops take different amounts of time to heal at my castles, even castles with the same level military hospital. So again, I think public order does play a very small role in determining the time these troops will take to heal. But regardless, these will take a very long time. Obviously, you don't want to be spending rubies on any of these troops to heal them up. They are faster, however. If we scroll down the list, here are the veteran heavy crossbowmen I was talking about. It takes 43 minutes for 5, which is quite a long time. Again, those are the troops that I used to calculate that 41 hours value. Here we have the veteran swordsmen. They will be much quicker. Let me go on over to 5 units so we can compare apples to apples there. 10 minutes and 21 seconds, again, at this particular location. These are the fastest troops, unless, for some reason, you are still able to recruit normal macemen, for example, and if that's you, then you are in business for this quest. You'll have no problem, because as far as I know, there's no minimum might requirement with this quest for healing units like there was on the previous one for recruiting them. So once again, if you are able to get normal macemen or normal crossbowmen or any of those weak troops that go through the hospital very quickly, definitely you want to do so. Now you could compare the veteran swordsman at 10 minutes 21 seconds for 5 to the archer at 20 minutes 42 seconds, and the archer obviously quite a bit slower there, but I completed this quest at least the healing portion, with quite a bit of time to go, and as I mentioned earlier, the archers are far less expensive both to recruit and to heal up. So in the future I will be using archers, and I recommend you do that as well. So this quest, with that trick in mind, can be fairly easily completed. I did use some gallantry tools to collect some extra gallantry points, and I'll have that quest done with time to spare, I hope. The third royal quest, the fourth royal quest, and the fifth royal quest kind of come as a bunch, because they all involve the nomad invasion, which will be in the game starting tomorrow morning. The third quest should be a breeze. The fourth quest will require a lot more attacking of nomad camps, and I'm worried about how my skips will do, but that should be fairly straightforward as well. I do have plenty of 5-minute skips, so if I need to, I can definitely use those. So again, not too worried about that quest. However, we do have this donate coins challenge, and I always hate these when they come early in the quest series, because if you donate 12 million coins, but then fail on quest number 6, for example, then your 12 million coins have gone to waste. You do get small rewards for completing each individual royal quest, but 12 million coins is not going to be worth it just to get these few troops and tools. However, this is on quest number 4, which is right in the middle, and I feel like if you have overcome the second quest, the remaining quests should be much easier, so that's not too bad, all things considered. The fifth quest is the other quest, however, I think you could screw up on. Once again, it is involving the nomad invasion, and because it's the third quest in a row for that event, you have to assume that it will be on the final day, give or take, of the event. Now, this will involve attacking and taunting the Khan camp, and on the final day of the event, your alliance probably will have leveled it up to whatever level will be maximum for your alliance, whatever level your alliance can achieve, so you may have to use some 24-hour skips or just go into the really long cooldown territory to take care of this quest. Now, each time you successfully defend against the Khan, you'll get a lot more rage points, so that should help you taunt the Khan 6 whole times. However, this quest does have that defeat the Khan camp requirement, and remember, if you defeat the Khan camp on the first day of the event, that's just not going to count, because this quest has to be active, and once again, it will probably only be active for about a day, so that's just something to keep in mind. The sixth quest here is fairly simple, just recruiting attackers and defenders. Once again, you have that minimum 125 attack power requirement, and for the defenders you have the minimum 132 defense power requirement, but that really shouldn't change anything, because as I mentioned in a previous video, you should always be recruiting the most powerful defense troops you can get out of your barracks. So that will be a lot of recruiting, it will cost a lot of coins, but again, fairly straightforward, no special tips for that one. The seventh royal quest here involves more recruiting of defenders, so after this quest line is up, you will have plenty of defenders, believe me, and you will also be challenged to gain glory and loot resources. Now, what's interesting about this is that it might actually force players to participate in some PvP combat. If you look at the event schedule on the forums, you will see that the Royal Quest is scheduled to end on the 18th, but the Bloodcrow invasion, I believe, or either that or the Foreigner invasion, in other words, how you would gain glory without PvP, ends on the 17th. Now, it's kind of unclear whether they end in the morning or the evening or whatever. I have noticed that with previous event schedules posted to the forums. In fact, sometimes events will end a day early or a day late. But anyways, this could force us to participate in some PvP and attack other players. This specific phrasing of enemy castle lords, I'm not sure if that applies, again, just to PvP or also to the Bloodcrows and foreign invaders, but we'll find out. If it does actually require you to participate in PvP, I would be willing to bet that most players will just arrange attacks with their friends and take care of this quest fairly easily. I'm not too worried about it, and luckily this whole quest chain wraps up before I am scheduled to go back to college. When I make my August updates video, I will talk about how this quest chain was included and these rewards were up for grabs, and I'll let you know how I did, but I'm fairly confident now that I'm most of the way through the second quest that I won't have much problem getting these few pieces. We will see how I do when I'm actually in college. I imagine that will be more difficult for me. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was one take, as you could see from the inclusion of some speaking errors that I would normally edit out. But if you did, let me know in the comments below. And the next video is going to be the defense PvP video that I think many of you have been waiting for. I will actually defend against some real PvP attacks. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.